Hey there, welcome to GameStop. Can I help you find anything today? Picking up a controller, I see. Sounds good. Could I interest you in a pre-owned one? It's significantly cheaper and of comparable quality. No? Well, okay then, but if you change your mind, they're all hanging behind me. So, is there anything you're looking forward to pre-ordering today? Haven't seen you for a while. I used to notice you come in here a lot. No, not pre-ordering? You sure? We've got, let me just say we've got coming out. We can pre-order, Sekiro. That From Software game about got a ninja. That comes out this week. You wanna, no? You're buying that digitally? Well, we also sell the no? Okay. How are you thinking about that, Mortal Kombat 11 launching next month? You want that? Oh, you want that digitally too? Well, what if I told you we had a pre-order? No, you're not pre. Okay. You want to just look at this book of future games you want to pre-order, or okay. I can tell you're not interested. Okay. I'm not trying to be pushy. Well, did you have a good look around? Can I interest you in any pop dolls? As you can see, we have a wall. No shortage of them. I'm sure we have your favorite character. Do you like Doctor Who? Are you into maybe Rick and Morty? Overwatch? You like that Tracer? Got several pop figures of her. They haven't made Baptiste yet, but I'm sure they will shortly. How about this Think Geek merchandise? You wanna, no? Okay. It seems your power-up reward has expired. Do you want to renew that so you can get the Game Informer? Oh, you don't shop here nearly enough? Yeah, I guess so. Like I said, it has been a while since I last saw you. Honestly, it's been a little lonely in here, This place used to be pretty poppin' back in my day. Now, not so much. Just kind of get sad sometimes, and I'm not to dump all this on you, but, and I actually have to wait for the computer to load for a bit. Just kind of, it's been a while since I booted it up. Not a lot of people been coming in here, but, it's been a while. Just kind of find myself trying to entertain myself. They used to keep two of us here behind the desk, but business has been so down lately that they figured one person was enough for most of the day. So found myself just kind of, listening to the same TV spots with the those young, sexy hosts talking about video games in their nice, comfy couch. I bet they don't have to worry about, things going out of business, maybe, because they have other jobs. Excuse me, that not bitter at all. I've reorganized the t-shirts multiple times. I did it by color, then by size. I guess size would be more helpful for the customer, but I really thought that the gradation of colors, going from your lights to the darks looked really nice, kind of helped bring the store together, but the customer didn't seem to appreciate it. What do they know? Unartistic slobs. Yeah, this is really sorry. Yeah, this really is taking a long time to load. I know, I apologize, but hey, isn't it crazy? I don't know if you've noticed, but they took away our demo stations. Yeah, you used to be able to come in here and play like demos. We had a PlayStation kiosk, we had our Xbox kiosk. They kind of took everything away to kind of make room for some board games. We've got the trading card games here, like a whole wall of that. If you like the Yu-Gi-Oh or the Magic. I like that Seto Kaiba. He's a snappy dresser. Blue Eyes White Dragon, am I right, brother? Oh, you never played? Okay. But yeah, they kind of had to make room for more just kind of miscellaneous stuff. Those replica Lancer guns. They take up more space than you think. So yeah, we can kind of only hold the DS station now. If you want to play that new Kirby's Epic Yarn game, we got that sitting there. But yeah, I used to be able to just kind of play the same Mario Kart 8 level a ton. Can't do that anymore. Kind of sad. I got really good at that level. It's my favorite. Man, I can't believe how long this computer is taking. You got your power-up card, right? I mean, yeah, I could just take your phone number, but, if you want to just give me the card, maybe it's easier. I guess it's up to you. Anything you want to trade in, by the way, we still do the trade-ins. You get points you can use towards other purchases. Yeah, I can look that up. Let's see. What was it? How much can you get for an Xbox One? Is it a base model? Oh yeah, you heard about that? Maybe that all digital Xbox. Microsoft's crazy. They're going out of business, man. They're going down. I can't believe. Why would you take the disc drive out of the physical is not going away anytime soon. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm looking it up. I'm actually checking on my phone since the computer is down, so I'm bringing up the Power Up Rewards app on your phone, which you should download because you can look it up too if you don't want to wait for us. No, you're good. Okay. Let's see. So according to the app, you base model Xbox One, 500 gig. Yeah, thank you. Give you $50 for it. Yes, that's with the pro membership as well. Yes. Yeah. Sorry about that. I guess. You think it should be higher? Don't know what to tell you, brother. Seems pretty fair to me. So, you playing that new Devil May Cry? Man, I'm so glad Capcom went back to that. That DMC reboot was so horrible. I can't believe they changed Dante's hair. Can you believe? No. I'm sorry, sir. No, I actually the computer just booted up. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize he had somewhere to go. I swear the computer was just taking a while, but oh my, it looks like it just came on. So yeah, let me just cash you out for this controller. Yeah, if you want to just tell me your phone number. Okay, let me just type that in. Okay, you're good. Okay, here you are. Alright, let me bag this up for you. Go. Nice GameStop bag for you. Let them know where you got it. And yeah, so I guess this is goodbye. Oh, you gotta run, right? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, do your thing, man. Just real quick before you go, if you don't mind my asking, when am I gonna see you again? Right. Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay, well. He'll be back. They always come back. Where else are they gonna get their games? Where else? Hello, darkness, my old friend. Damn it. Damn it. Hey there, oh. Okay, never mind. Damn it. Hey there, it's Marcus Stewart, and welcome to Marcus Talks About Games. Episode 10. It's been 10 weeks of this nonsense, and if you've stuck around for all of those weeks, I very, very much appreciate it. And it's a beautiful day here down in Florida. I hope it is wherever you are. Of course, by that I mean that wherever you are, I hope that the weather is still beautiful here in Florida. But all jokes aside, because this show isn't about jokes and comedy, bad or otherwise. We're talking about video games, damn it. And one video game I'd love to talk about that I've been playing a lot of is that Devil May Cry 5. You could also call it Devil May Cry V, the Roman numeral for 5, and also because there's a character named V that you control, who I've played quite a bit of. So I have not finished the game, but I have gotten to play as V, as well as Dante. I don't know how many missions there are in the game in general, but I probably at least halfway through it, I would imagine. I am on mission 13. Yes, the last mission I finished was mission 12, and I am still Dante. And I still love that game. That game's real good. It is a real good Devil May Cry. So last week I had only played mostly Nero stuff. I can't remember I don't think I got to V last week. But I do want to talk about him. So V is the new character. Actually, I think I may have mentioned him because I said he looks like Adam Driver. That has not changed. He still looks like Adam Driver a lot. I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that. I would be shocked if I did. And I like him. Surprisingly, I like using him. I was worried because unlike Dante and Nero, he plays very differently in that So V's thing is that he summons demons to fight for him. So he's got a bird guy named Griffin, who is a very chatty crow, and as well as a tiger, or not a tiger, a panther, and also a monster, like a giant monster thing. It's not an animal, it's just kind of a blob thing with arms and legs. And you control them, and you just kind of like hit the same buttons as attack and stuff, but the bird kind of acts as what the gun would be for Dante and Virgil, where like the bird shoots projectiles from his beak, and then the panther acts as the melee attack, and you're just hitting those buttons. But they kind of, I mean, you're controlling them directly, but at the same time you can move independently as V, so you can kind of run around and just keep hitting the attack buttons, and the demon monsters or animals, whatever, will just kind of attack on their own. And it works surprisingly well. Like, I was afraid it would feel too disjointed and not as satisfying as just getting up in their face and, like, hacking through someone with a sword that you're holding. But it works surprisingly well, and the kind of the abilities that you have are pretty neat, where V, his thing is that he can finish off people. Like, he can only, like, the demons can't kill anyone outright. They can only knock them into kind of like a stagger state, and then V kind of teleports in with his cane and deals the finishing blow. And so chaining combos like that, where you're tearing them up with like the Panther, for example, and maybe launching them in the air and they glow blue, and that lets you know like, hey, it's time for V to finish them. And then you can instantly teleport to the staggered enemy as V and then just end them. And it's pretty cool. It's really fun, especially for like crowd control, because you can just use the animals to kind of keep people back and just go wild while you kind of hang back. I love that you can there's a button where you can recharge your devil trigger by holding the right trigger, and V will just read from his poetry book and like actually be reading for us, so you hear him just saying just poetry stuff, and you're just walking around slowly, so you kind of have to be careful when you use it because you're leaving yourself vulnerable. But just the scene of like all of this crap going on around you, like this giant fight scene, there's just chaos. You got 3 of your demon monsters just tearing things up and everything happening. And then at the same time, you're just V walking around with your poetry book, not even looking around at what's going on. Like it's kind of plays into Devil May Cry stylishness. It's just another form of being really cool. But I like V. I'm surprised because I thought he would, I don't want to say suck, but I was just I wasn't looking forward to playing with him as much as I was Dante and Nero. That said, as good as V is, he still doesn't hold a candle to my boy Dante, who I finally gotten to use, and my god, is he so much fun to play as. So Dante retains the abilities that he's had since Devil May Cry 3, in that he has the 4 different kind of styles, like Trickster, which is, you are more evasive. You got Gunslinger, which lets you do more gun-based techniques. You got Swordmaster, which lets you do more sword-based techniques. And then you got Royal Guard, which allows you to block and kind of counter. All of those are still there. You switch between them on the fly. It's very easy to do. But my god, he has those 4 moves, and then he has 2... or actually 3 melee weapons, or at least I have 3 at the moment. Maybe he gets more. In the Sword Rebellion, as well as the Balrog, which was the kind of gloves and boots from Devil May Cry 3, where you're just, meleeing dudes with martial arts, just punching and kicking the crap out of them. And then you got the new weapon, which this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but it's the motorcycle, which I've forgotten the name of. I'm trying to remember it. But he has a motorcycle that's a weapon, and the motorcycle can split into 2 swords, like with a wheel on each end. So he basically cuts the motorcycle in half and wields both halves as swords. And it's kind of like a slow, almost kind of like a chainsaw, because you can like rev the wheels and just like hold the button down to just deal a bunch of continuous damage with the wheels as it's spinning into the enemies. And it's the stupidest, silliest thing, but it is so much fun to use. It's one of my favorite kind of unconventional weapons I've seen in a long time. So it's like just running, or like every time I conjure that motorcycle, like you can either ride into people with the motorcycle just as a traditional vehicle, or just cut that thing in half and just go crazy on people. And it's super fun. It's it's slower, but it's so satisfying holding that button down and just grinding into enemies and just hearing that engine rev up. Like, it's like basically almost an advanced version of Nero's Red Queen, because, that has kind of a motorcycle handle where you're revving that up. But this is this is taking that concept even further, like just straight up like, let's just make it a damn motorcycle that's a sword. But I'm loving it. I said last week that I've always kind of been a little bit frustrated with kind of the recent DMC games, at least by Capcom, which would be pretty much just Devil May Cry 4 and 5, and kind of the decree to kind of move Dante as more of a supporting character where you don't really get to use him for like the whole game. You always gotta get to use him for a bit of it. And that's only because I really love Dante. Who doesn't love Dante? But now that I have him, I'm I'm really happy to have him, and I've had him for a few missions now, so I honestly, like, as much as I love V and Nero, I kind of want to just stick with Dante for the rest of the game. Primarily because of the way the game's structured, because you are having to switch protagonist every now and then. Depending on the chapter, you'll switch to another character, which on one hand is cool because it keeps the game fresh, and all three characters play so differently from each other. Like, I do like that. And I like that. I like, it's fun to have change like that. But at the same time, it also makes it kind of hard to really get to know the character like intimately, because as soon as you really start to get a handle on your moveset, they switch you to someone else, and then you kind of have to get used to that person again. So for that game, because all the characters have their own like deep move sets that you have to buy, like they all share the same money pool, so you have to kind of think about what you're spending for one character, because if you blow everything on one character, you might not have enough money to buy new techniques for the other once you switch. Albeit the game does a really good job of just throwing orbs at you. Like, this game is very generous with its orbs, so I think it kind of solves its own problem there. But because there's so many moves you can buy for both of them, that's a lot of moves to memorize and learn, and a lot of them do use the same kind of button combinations, like holding the right button, and like it's all kind of directional based of like, okay, block plus the attack and then forward or back or what have you. But when it comes to learning those techniques on an expert level, in terms of like figuring out how to combine moves in really slick ways, it's a little harder to figure that stuff out on your own, because you're not having as much time as you might need to with a character, because you're always jumping back and forth. So maybe once I have some sort of breakthrough with Nero, I'm playing as V now, so it's like, okay, and I gotta get used to V again, and like, what was the thing I was doing with V when I was him last time? It's like, okay, I'm Dante again, alright, I gotta get used to that again. That's kind of the only con that comes with the switching back and forth. Those games, and games like Devil May Cry, like those stylish action games, they kind of depend upon getting used to one character and just mastering their moveset so that you get better and more quote-unquote stylish with them, because you've spent so much time practicing with them. So I was wondering to myself if I would want this same structure for Devil May Cry 6. If that ever happens, I would imagine it would. From what I understand, this game has sold quite well and kind of continues the role that Capcom's been on. At least the role that doesn't involve fighting games. And I'm not sure if I would want that yet. It's like, I like I said before, like, I like having three different characters to play as, because all three of them are fun, but I do like being able to just kind of master one for one game. So I wonder if you could just, maybe Devil May Cry 6, if you would just make the game bigger and longer and just let you stay as one character for a longer period of time. But that might exasperate the problem, because if the longer you stay with character, the more attached you get. So even it feel more abrupt if you were maybe Nero for 5 hours and then they're like, okay, you're done. Here you go. You're Dante now. I guess it's kind of what Devil May Cry 4 did, because that was all just two characters. Like, you played half the game as Nero and then you play the last half as Dante before going back to Nero at the very end. Though I guess at the time I wasn't super bothered by it. It did make that last segment as Nero a little bit of I was a little bit rusty, because you played a significant amount of the game as Dante, so you're kind of going back to Nero. And, you have your, you're not like you completely forget everything, but, you've been wearing a different pair of shoes for a while, so you got to kind of settle back in that old pair that you put in the closet. So it was an interesting conundrum. maybe you just do the Devil May Cry 2 thing, and I know Devil May Cry 2, we do not speak its name. It's like the Voldemort of the Devil May Cry series. Like, Capcom doesn't even acknowledge it. But Devil May Cry 2 did the thing of just having 2 separate campaigns with 2 different characters where you played as Dante throughout one campaign, or you could play as Lucille, who is the female character that has not been mentioned since. But you just played as 2 completely different campaigns, and, well, not really completely different. When you play as Lucille, you think, if I remember correctly, you just played a lot of the same stuff as Dante. You were just as a different character. But maybe what if you did that for Devil May Cry 6, where you have, let's say if they stick to 3 protagonists, it's like, hey, you play 3 separate campaigns. There's no switching in between the story. It's like, okay, you're playing Dante's campaign. You do a whole game of Dante, and then you can go and play the whole game as Nero, and, etc. Maybe that's how you solve that problem. Maybe that's the middle ground there. I probably wouldn't mind it, especially if all 3 campaigns were very different from each other and you're not just repeating the same areas. Because even 5 has a little bit of that problem with, like, there's the one, like, the main boss that you have to fight a few times is, like, either Dante or Nero, and, like, the fight, it does change a bit, but it's generally the same fight, and, if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. It's the big demon boss, basically. You do fight him a couple times as Nero and Dante, and, like, by the time I got to him the last time as Dante, I was kind of like, okay, even though they had changed it up by that point a bit, it was like, okay, I'm still fighting this guy again. So Devil May Cry 5 is not free of that repetition, at least not completely. So Capcom, if you're listening, you should just do that, because I know what's best for the series, obviously. There's your free tip. And by free, I don't really mean that. If you guys do it, you should credit me somehow. I don't know how you would do that, but I'm just playing. But yeah, overall, still having a blast with that game. That game is freaking beautiful. It's so damn pretty on Xbox One X, and it runs so smoothly. That 60 frames per second, a term that most gamers can't say without salivating like Homer Simpson. 60 frames per second. Kind of like that. But yeah, that's probably the game I've been playing the most. I have played more Ape-Out. I got to the 4th chapter. That game's still fun. It's gotten pretty hard. That 3rd chapter with the, I don't want to say what it is, but if you played the game, you know what it is. That one was kicking my ass for a bit, but I persevered through it, and now I'm at the beginning of the 4th chapter. So it might be the last one. I don't know if they squeeze a 5th one on there, but the way the game's presented, it kind of looks like that's going to be the last chapter, so I'll likely finish that off this week. And of course, as I mentioned last week, I am still playing Eternity: The Last Goddamn Unicorn, which is the game I'm currently reviewing for Screen Rant. I am at the end of it. Maybe I'll have the review up this week. We'll see. It's kind of what I'm shooting for. That game is still awful, and it's only gotten worse. I won't get too into it because that's what the review will be for. Cheap plug. But it is a broken piece of garbage. However, the one thing I will like to bring up is that it's kind of similar to Devil May Cry 5 in that they also juggle multiple protagonists where you are playing as either this elf woman or a Viking man, and this does the Devil May Cry thing of certain story segments, the game will automatically switch you to one of the characters. The difference between Eternity: The Last Unicorn and Devil May Cry 5, though, is that the whole 2-character thing feels super disjointed. Like, their stories aren't related, like, at all. At least they haven't really had any real through line between the 2. And I'm literally at the end of the game. Like, I'm about to start the last dungeon. At least I'm hoping that's the last dungeon. It's certainly being built up as the last dungeon, and I want to be done with this game as quickly as possible, so they better not pull a surprise on me there. But yeah, like, the elf lady, her story is that she's trying to save the last unicorn because something about eternal life. And the other guy, Viking man, he's trying to avenge his dead brothers, and the characters have interacted on a very superficial level, and by that I mean they run into each other, they exchange a few poorly written words, and like nothing of substance. They're just like, hey, you're here. Yeah, good to see you. Okay, it's your turn to play as this character now. And then that's it. There's no like the overarching plot doesn't really weave their two stories together. It just makes you wonder why they why even do two different characters in the first place. They just feel like two completely different stories. And it also doesn't help that the game has you running through the same very small area multiple times as both characters, and the environments are not interesting. The level design is very basic and tedious. It's just filled with fetch quests, the kind that feels like padding out the game because you're going through the same places and grabbing things that have always been there, but it's like, okay, you couldn't collect this thing before, but now you can because you have this ability. And it's not like the things you're going back to get were locked behind any kind of door or anything like that. Like, they're just there in the environment. You just couldn't interact with it for just no arbitrary reason until you could. So it's just, that game. It's also got the worst thing about that game is that it's just got a litany of technical problems. That thing freezes, that thing glitches, it plays like crap. It is just unpolished. It is one of the most broken games I've played in some time. I mean, I've played quite a bit of broken games, but it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I played something this bad. And the only good thing that's come out of this is, as I said last week when I was talking about bad games, it only helps to make me greater appreciate the quality stuff that's out there. Because oftentimes I've been playing this and Devil May Cry back to back, and man, what a difference. So yeah, hopefully I should have the review posted this week, and you can read all about my experience with that game in great detail. So Backlog. I was thinking about mine recently, primarily Steam, which probably has the biggest backlog of any platform that I own, just because of those kind of a combination of Steam sales, winter, summer, spring. Is there a spring sale? I don't even remember. It feels like there's always a sale. As well as Humble Bundles. Those are a big part of it. But I haven't been on Steam in some time. I haven't really played PC games as much as I used to, which isn't even that much. I've never really been a PC gamer. I didn't grow up with a PC in general for most of my life, and really didn't get my first real computer of my own until I graduated high school as a graduation gift. It was my first laptop, but we didn't really have a computer in the house, and so the only time I really used computers was in school. So I missed out on a lot of PC gaming, and then even the laptop I got, I didn't play games with it. So like, it wasn't until the laptop I got after that, which was when I was in college, probably back in 2010, maybe at the earliest, 2011, was when I finally started playing games on PC and got a Steam account and felt like a real gamer now. And in that time, I accumulated quite a bit of games, and I've played maybe a fraction of them relative to what I have as a whole. And I thought it'd be cool to maybe kind of read the list of games that I have, share with you guys my backlog, and maybe just see what the likelihood is that I will get to each game in a relatively timely manner. And by timely manner, I would say at the earliest, within a year, maybe? I don't know. It's an attack of the backlog. Call it that. So here we go. I have Steam open. Da-ba-da-ba-dum. And here are my games, and if I pause in between, it's probably because I'm skipping over something that I did play. So yeah, starting with the A's, because Steam is really good at that alphabetical order stuff. Let's see. Ooh. I have Always Sometimes Monsters, which I don't remember what that is, but I have it. I think I got this at a convention. If I remember correctly, I think the developer of this game was there showing something else, and they just gave me a business card that just had a code for this game on the back. I'm pretty sure that's how I got this, and I've never played it, so haven't even installed it. In fact, a vast majority of these games have not been installed. Let's see, moving on, I've got a Tentat, 1942, a Tentat. It's like Attentat, which I want to say attendant. I don't know if it's a foreign word for attendant, but I remember getting this one, I think, as a code through an email. I don't know what it is either. Some kind of war game, I think. Let's see. I got the Banner Saga 2, which I really should get to because I played the Banner Saga 1 on Steam and finished it and liked it quite a bit and picked up the sequel, and I just hadn't started it yet. In fact, it says that I purchased it in 2016, in October apparently. Huh. Well, and now Banner Saga 3 is out, so the story's over. It sucks. I did have a little bit of buyer's remorse with this because I bought, Banner Saga 1 on Steam, and it was before it had come to any consoles, if I remember correctly, so the PC was the only way to play it, and I enjoy turn-based strategy, and I like the art style for this game, so I really wanted to play it. And then they started releasing Banner Saga and everything under the sun. I could probably play Banner Saga on my toaster, and the sequels followed suit, and what kind of broke me was the Switch version of man, I would so much rather play this series on Switch. But the thing is that it's like a Mass Effect thing where the story carries over with each thing, and I don't want to have to start over. I don't want to have to play the first one again, because as much as I loved it, I also remember it being pretty hard, and so I don't know if I want to put myself through that game again, just to make the same choices or whatever choices I made. So it's oh man, I almost wish I could import my save data from Steam to Switch. And maybe Banner Saga 2 does the thing of hey, if you didn't play the first game, you can just pick some choices, the key moments, and just say hey, here, this is what I chose. I actually don't know if you can do that with 2. I should probably look into that so I can actually play this game, because if I have the choice, I would much rather play this on Switch than PC, just because I don't really play stuff on my PC as much, or I'm not as inclined to, because my backlogs on console are pretty sizable in their own right. But yeah, Banner Saga 2 sitting there. Let's see, you got Battle Block Theater, which I completely forgot existed until now. That's the game by the Behemoth. I think this was their first game after Castle Crashers, if I remember correctly. This game was good, right? No one ever really talks about it, but I've never heard anything bad about it. So, there it goes. I might have this on Xbox too, I think. Let's see. Beholder? Don't know what that is, but okay. Between Me and the Night, which I do remember buying in 2016 as well. I think it's a narrative adventure game of some sort. Still haven't played it. Damn it. Let's see. We got a classic game here. We've got Blood, first-person shooter, or I guess the full title is Blood, 1 Unit, Whole Blood, which I don't even think grammatically makes sense. 1 unit, Whole Blood. That's weird. Yeah, I bought this in 2015, apparently, probably on a sale, and I think it was when I was going through Classic Doom. I played Classic Doom to completion for the first time, I believe on Xbox, and I just kind of wanted to dip my toes into more kind of classic first-person shooters that were aping Doom at the time, and I heard that Blood was one of them, so I think I picked it up for cheap and then just never got around to it. Aren't they remaking Blood? I feel like that sounds right, or if they did, I feel like new Blood has happened. And not just the Wolfenstein kind. Well, I guess Wolfenstein was Old Blood. And then the next Wolfenstein is Young Blood. So they haven't actually done New Blood yet. Let's see, what's next? Consortatorium, which is in all caps. And this looks like some sort of fancy first-person adventure game. Kind of in the vein of almost kind of reminds me of Tacoma a little bit. Don't know what that is, but the artwork has a picture of a space airplane that might be crashing, might not be. Interesting. Moving on to a game that I know very well and probably you'll recognize is Daikatana, which, if you're not aware, was the failed kind of solo outing for John Romero upon leaving id and forming what was the studio? Oh my god, it's killing me. The studio, they made Deus Ex, and Warren Spector was there. This is gonna ruin me. I'll probably think of it later, but Daikatana was this really just ambitious first-person shooter game where you did time traveling and you had a sword. It was a whole thing. It had a very famous poster that got a lot of flack where it just said John Romero is gonna make you his bitch, which a lot of people did not take kindly to, and kind of got this game some heat before it even came out. And then the fact that it came out and was not very good, apparently, was kind of the final nail in the coffin for John Romero for a while. And maybe, I guess you could argue, maybe he still hasn't recovered from that. Oh, was the studio Ion Storm? Was that the name of the studio? I'm gonna Google it right now. Google. Yes, I was right. Ion Storm. See, I'm smart. I know my history. Yeah, I bought this just out of curiosity because I've always wanted to see what was so bad about this game. Got it in 2014, so it's been almost 5 years, and I still haven't played it. I should get to that. I think I bought it. Well, I guess I bought this before Blood. I was gonna say, did I buy this during that kick of wanting to play classic first-person shooters? But I bought this at least a year before Blood. So yeah, I need to revisit this very curious and kind of significant piece of history here at some point. Let's see. I've got Damsel, which I got last year. I do remember, I think I got this as a code. Haven't played it, of course. Day of the Tentacle Remastered, I would like to get to. I've never played any of the kind of classic Tim Schafer adventure games, so I know I think I have Grim Fandango down here too. But I bought these both because even though they came on console, I wanted to play them the way that they, I guess, were meant to be played. On PC, I wanted to use a mouse and keyboard because I've always wanted to play these games, and I was really excited for the remasters because the originals were almost impossible to find and to play because they'd never been released digitally prior to this, as far as I remember. So yeah, this is just another case of kind of like, no real reason I haven't played this. It just kind of got buried under other stuff. But I'm glad I see it now. Remember, now I have to, at least it's fresh in my memory of like, hey, I gotta get to this. Speaking of Ion Storm, I didn't realize I had this, but I've got Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition. This is the original Deus Ex. The only Deus Ex game I've ever played was Human Revolution last generation, which I liked. I finished that game. I have Mankind Divided on either PS Plus or Xbox Live Gold, or maybe both. Haven't played that. But yeah, the original game. I would like to get to this for the same reason I want to get to Blood and Daikatana. Just, it's one of those games that everyone talks about, and it has a pretty big place in history, though for Deus Ex in the positive sense, because I've always heard that this game was fantastic for its time and somewhat influential as well. I would be curious to see how it holds up today. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to be blown away because I'm sure, I would imagine the things that it did that was different has been copied to death at this point. So it's kind of like watching Halloween, the original Halloween, for the first time today, where it's gonna seem like the most cliched movie of all time because it was the birth of a lot of those slasher flick cliches. But I still appreciate seeing kind of some now like staple ideas or mechanics, seeing them kind of in their infancy. That's always fun, at least for me. Let's see. We're in the G's now. I got Galaxy, which I remember here that released a few years ago. I think I might have it on PS4 too. Wasn't it free for PS Plus? But I think I got this with a Humble Bundle, probably, because I would not buy this on Steam. I would get this on PS4, so it feels like I would have gotten this in a Humble Bundle. Like, there was something else in the bundle I really wanted, and Galaxy probably just came with it. Haven't played it. Heard good things. Galaxy had a booth at E3 last year, which was interesting. I don't know why, because it didn't seem like it was a sequel. Maybe it was some sort of expansion. Maybe have they been updating Galaxy with new stuff? I don't know. Oh wait, no. Okay. I just saw on the Steam, like the little recent news thing, it said the Void DLC is live and now. So I was like, oh, maybe that's it. But this thing was written in 2016, its announcement, so it can't be that. So in fact, the most recent patch thing was in 2016 too, so I don't know what that Galaxy booth was at E3 last year. Let's see. Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams, which I feel like every platform has given away for free at some point. I had this game on Wii U, never played it. I have it on Xbox too, I think. Haven't played it, and I have it on Steam, and haven't played it. So yeah, I remember when I got this at the time, because I got this 5 years ago, I had never heard of Gianna Sisters, and I looked up what that was, and kind of read about the history of the series, because apparently it dates back to like the 16-bit era, kind of platforming games, kind of a very forgotten platforming series, and I guess Twisted Dreams was kind of a revival for it. I don't even know if this game is good or not. I've never heard anyone talk about this game, even though it's always kind of on sale on every storefront or given away at some point. So yeah, I don't know. If you've played Gianna Sister's Twisted Dreams, let me know. In fact, let me know if there's anything here that you think I should play. Like, is there anything that you've heard that I have that I should really be prioritizing or like I should really get to? Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at MarcusStewart7. Do that. Let's see here. Grim Fandango Remastered. I am kind of ashamed that I haven't gotten to this because for years and years and years prior to this remaster, I always wanted to play Grim Fandango. I'm a big fan of Double Fine, and this was one of those games that you would always hear come up when people talk about Double Fine and how fond they are of the studio. And it always drove me insane that it was only on PC and it never been ported or was made available anywhere. And then I remember when they announced this, because I think they announced this remaster at E3, if I remember correctly. Like, I think it was on Sony's stage. That sounds right, because I remember, like, reacting like, holy crap, I can't believe they're remastering Grim Fandango. Yes, it had to be Sony, because I think Tim Schafer was up there to announce it. And, like, being super excited, but also being really kind of, like, taken aback. Like, that's weird. Like, why is he announcing it here, of all places? And yeah, same reason I bought this on PC, because I wanted to play it the way that it was designed, mouse and keyboard and stuff, and just haven't gotten to it yet. Now I'm kind of sad that I haven't got it. I kind of forgot that I had this game. Should open up Steam more often. I usually just hit the window whenever I turn my computer on, the little update thing. I just kind of go, X, done. Oh, I see my friends list. Nah, I don't need that right now. Done. So, let's see. Gunpoint. Little indie game. This was relatively recent, but it was purchased in 2014. It felt like this game came out 2 years ago, not 5. I do remember hearing about this game and hearing that it was good. I bought it probably because of that and never got to it. So there you go. Guns and Boxes. I have no idea what this is. Guns and Boxes. It's got like it's like some sort of multiplayer, maybe like a fighter. I don't know. Like the only preview screen I'm looking at, because I'm not going to the game page because I don't. I'm not going through all that. I'm just clicking the name on my Steam list, and that's about as much info as I'm looking at for these games. But it's got like a picture of almost like a kind of like a Towerfall looking select screen. Is it like a Towerfall clone? Maybe, or some sort of multiplayer brawler, like an arena brawler. Okay, sure. Don't know what that is. Let's see. Guns of Icarus Alliance. And right under it, I have Guns of Icarus Online. Are these the same game? It seems that I got them both at the same time last year, actually. So did they separate like the campaign from the online? Is it like Crackdown 3? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what this is. It looks like a 3D game. By 3D game, I mean it's got like, polygonal graphics, so it's maybe might not run super well on my laptop. Because I have a pretty average laptop. Like, it's not, I don't really use it to play like any big AAA games. It would not be able to run it that well, but it's good for smaller indie stuff that is less graphics intensive. So I just looking at this, I don't even know if my if my laptop could run this game to its best or even close to it. But I guess I got some Guns of the Icarus, or Guns of Icarus. There's a picture of like a colonial looking guy. What is this? I have Guru Men, A Monstrous Adventure. I do remember buying this years ago. I really should play this. I remember buying this because it looked like something I would like. It kind of has a, this is an older game, actually. If I remember correctly, Guru Men released a couple generations ago for like maybe PS1, or was it the PS2 GameCube generation? One of those two, but it's like like just kind of like a cutesy action adventure game. You play as this girl who I think has a drill or might be some sort of mechanic or something. She's got goggles, and like the art style gave me like some serious Mega Man Legends vibe, which turned me on immediately because I'm a big Mega Man Legends fan. And I bought it kind of, hoping for something like that, at least in terms of the tone and humor, and it looked like it was that, and I just haven't played it yet. I should get to this. I forgot I had this, and yeah, this looks good. Okay, next up, Hack and Slash. Speaking of Double Fine, man, this game looked pretty cool. I remember seeing the trailers for this, and I like hack and slash games in general. So a game literally titled Hack and Slash would probably be enjoyable to at least by default to some degree. Um, okay, that's another game I would probably bump up a bit. Hacknet. That's the next game. Hacknet, which I got for free last year. I do remember this because I think they just gave it out last year for some reason. I don't know if the developer is working on something new, but I just remember reading a news story saying like, "Hey, Hacknet's free," and I'd heard good things about Hacknet around the time that it released. I think it was on my wish list for a while, so I was like, "Oh, cool." Uh, I don't feel as bad about not playing this because I got it last summer, so it hasn't even been a year since I had it. But it's like a hacking game. I've never really played like a hacking focused game, so I would be I was interested in trying that out just for something new. Let's see, Hexalogic, which I got a code for, though this game is also on phones, and I think I would have preferred having the phone version. It's like some sort of puzzle game. It looked kind of cool, like the idea of it. I don't remember what that idea was, but it looked cool. But I do remember wishing I could just play this on my phone because it seemed better suited for it. And that's about my only memory of this game. So there it is, Hexalogic. Ooh, speaking of games that I forgot that I had that now that I'm remembering I really want to play is Kentucky Route Zero. I have heard nothing but really good things about this series, which is a like episodic narrative adventure series that's been going on for a few years now because I think the episodes, like a new episode releases like once a year or once every couple years. It's had a very kind of prolonged release schedule, but everyone I've talked to about this series loves it, and I like narrative adventure games enough to care about this. So I bought this, I think in a God, it was some, I remember getting some sort of sale. I don't know if it was a Steam sale or a Humble Bundle, but I bought like the full season pass, I guess, or whatever. Like I think I get all the episodes, and I think that I don't think it's done. I'm trying to remember. I remember seeing that either the latest episode was either about to come or hasn't come yet, or has come, I should say. It's already released. I don't know if Kentucky Route Zero is still going or not. But yeah, like you guys probably don't have to tell me about this one, because I think that this might be, it's up there for one of those games that like, oh man, I should get to this because this is supposed to be really, really good. Man, I feel bad now. Oh, here's another game that I forgot I had that also looked really cool is Kingsway, which I have played, though I played it at the Indie Mega Show in Atlanta. I went down there with Aiden Strawhud, who is awesome, fellow game journalist. You should check her out. Check her out on Twitter. She's a super duper talented girl. But we went down to the Indie Mega Show in Atlanta like 2 years ago now or something like that. And they had this game demoed, and I played it and thought it was really cool. It's like a narrative adventure game, but like, or not even narrative adventure game. It's kind of more like a old school, like text-based RPG. But the presentation is what people remember about the game, where it's presented as like a Windows 95 like desktop, and every action is represented by like old-timey like windows, like actual window boxes that pop up. So like your attacks and like everything that you do is translated or is presented in those window boxes. So it's like an RPG that takes place on the Windows 95 desktop basically. There is a story behind this game, because I bought this game because I liked what I played of it at the Indie Mega Show, and then for some reason I could not get it to open. Like I tried to play it immediately, and I remember having to go through this entire saga of trying to make this game run on my laptop, and it was insane because I kept installing it and Steam kept saying no for some reason. I don't remember what the error was, but it kept giving me this error, and this went on for like a month, where I kept trying to troubleshoot and figure out what was going on, because it's like this game I've run like more complicated or like just more graphics intensive or more processing intensive games on my laptop. So Kingsway Should be fine. I don't understand what's happening. And I wish I could remember what the exact error was, but it was insane because I'd never seen it for any other game I'd played on Steam before. And it was driving me nuts because I wanted to play Kingsway, but it took so long to figure out that I kind of like moved on because I had to play other games. And then every time I looked at Kingsway, I would like every once in a while like try to install it again and it would give me the same error. I would just keep hoping that it would work. I eventually figured it out, and now I can play this stupid game. But then by the time I figured it out, I think I was just knee deep in other stuff, and I just kind of missed my window of like that initial interest with it. It's still installed. It's one of the few games on my Steam list that is still installed. So yeah, like looking at the artwork and remembering how charming this game looked, it makes me want to play it again. So okay, so we got Kingsway kind of towards the top now. If you think I should play it, first let me know if you've played Kingsway and liked it. Let's see, Kona, Kona. I remember this one because I saw this game at PAX South, I believe in 2017. I played it there and thought it was pretty cool. It's a man. This is becoming a thing. It's another narrative adventure game. This one's first person, and it had this cool thing where you're I think it's set in the 70s, and you're like in the woods in like Canada. I think that's where it was. And you're trying to find like a missing person, but then it kind of spirals into like a bunch of other mysteries that got kind of supernatural. But it had this cool thing where it was narrated by some like old guy. I think he was like a name, like a famous actor of some sort. At least that's what I remember the PR lady telling me. But it was kind of like an old mystery movie where like he like a noir movie, like he's like narrating all your actions and stuff like that. Like, and then he got out the car. It seemed like something was really suspicious, and like kind of like that. Much better than that, but you get the idea probably. Yeah, I think I would rather play this on console. Honestly, I think I got a code for this back when it was still in early access. So then when it had its full release, I just owned the game. But yeah, I feel like I would have just, because I know it's on console and it's always on sale. I think it might be on sale right now. Actually. Yeah, I think I'd just rather play it there. So here's one. Left 4 Dead 2. I've never played Left 4 Dead of like either of them. I don't know why. It always seemed like a fun series. I've watched people play it. Never played any of them myself. I don't know why I have Left 4 Dead 2. Oh, wow, this is an old one. I got this on Christmas in 2013. Maybe I bought it, I guess? Did Valve give it away? Nah, I probably bought it. That seems more likely. Yeah, I would like to play this, I guess, at some point. Though again, I'd rather play this on console, and of course you want to get some peeps with you to play, because that's the whole point of Left 4 Dead is to play with friends. I didn't realize I had Left 4 Dead 2. There's an interesting one, because I have not played this game like my own copy of this game, but I have played it with friends, and that's Lethal League, which I played on a friend's laptop around the time it came out, like at a party. He brought it, and we played a bunch of matches of it. And then I bought this, I guess 2-3 years ago. I have never installed it on my own computer, but I like Lethal League a lot. It's a really goofy, like kind of 4-player fighting brawler thing. I think it was centered around like hitting a ball at each other. I'm trying to remember what Lethal League was, but I think you're like bouncing a ball. It's almost like weird baseball soccer thing, and like that's how you deal damage, and like that's like the vaguest memory I have of it. And it's like really fast paced and just really ridiculous. But yeah, Lethal League. Okay, good to know I have that. Moonlighter, which came out, I was gonna say last year, but yeah, I guess it was last year. I saw this game at E3 in 2017. I had an appointment to see Moonlighter, and I played about an hour or so of it, and I liked it a lot. It's a kind of top-down Zelda-y dungeon crawler with this cool premise where you're a shopkeeper, and like half the game you spend traveling through dungeons, kind of doing the standard dungeon crawling stuff, like finding loot and killing enemies. But then the other half of the game, like during the daytime, you're running a shop. And the reason you're going into these dungeons is to get items to sell in your shop. And then it becomes basically a completely different game where you're like running the shop, you're setting prices, you're trying to build clientele and trying to meet customer taste and expectations, and you're competing with other stores in the village. And it's like, I thought it was a cool kind of marriage of ideas when I first played it. And I think this is another one where they gave me the code because it was an early access, and then like I just got the full release when it came out. And kind of like those other games, I think I would rather play this on Switch because I know it's on Switch because I have it on my Switch wish list. Switch wish list. Switch list. Switch list? They should just call it that. As stupid as it is. I'm surprised. Kind of like Nindies for Nintendo Indies. I'm surprised that the wish list isn't just called the Switch list. But yeah, Moonlighter. Cool. Let's see here. Orcs Must Die 2. I also have Orcs Must Die 1, but I actually did play Orcs Must Die 1, and I had decent fun with it. And then I think 2 I just got with a bundle, probably. Haven't played it. It's like a tower defense game. I'm not really super into tower defense games, but I enjoyed Orcs Must Die enough. But never played the sequel. So there you go. Here's a big one that every time I look at it and like remember that I have it, I always kind of shake my head in shame that I haven't actually fired this up yet. And that's Papers, Please, which I do have installed. It's, again, one of the maybe 5 games that I have installed. And I've had it for 5 years now, and I haven't played it. And I've heard nothing but good things about Papers, Please. Developed by Lucas Pope, who released his first game since Papers, Please last year, and that was Return of the Obra Dinn, which I also really want to play, but it's only on PC, which drives me nuts. I want to play that on console, and maybe it will, but Papers, Please, I don't think ever came to console either, so that's kind of a bad omen that maybe Return of the Obra Dinn won't either. But yeah, I want to play this game. It's installed. I could hit play right now and be playing it. Should I play Papers, Please before, say, Kingsway or Kentucky Route Zero? Let me know. But yeah, feel free to ball up some papers and throw them at me while saying, please play this game. Yeah, I know, I had to really stretch to make that work. Okay? God. Here's one that I forgot existed. Papu and Yo, which was a last generation indie game where you played as a, if I remember correctly, you were a little boy who may or may not have had an abusive family. And, like, I don't know if he lives in this fantasy world or if he's, like, in a dream world, but he befriends a monster thing. And it kind of becomes almost like a Last Guardian kind of dynamic of, like, cute little boy meets cute big monster and they go on an adventure together. I remember this came out around the time that we were getting a few of those, because there was that other game, and I might blow your mind because you might have forgotten this game existed, and I'm amazed that I remember it, but there was that Majin and the Forsaken Kingdom game that had basically the same premise, and I think there was another game that was like a bigger AAA thing that I can't remember. I might have been thinking of Last Guardian because Last Guardian was still kind of being in development at the time that this game came out. But I remember playing a demo of this on PlayStation 3 and liked it enough, and then I think I got this with a Humble Bundle and just haven't played it. So yeah, Papu and Yo. There's one you probably haven't heard in a long time. I don't know how to pronounce this exactly, but it's Pixel RU Square? It's Pixel RU, like lowercase, almost like the way you write an element, like on the periodic table, and then square, like 2. So Pixel RU Square. Pixel RU Square? Is that supposed to be a joke? Like, RU Square? I don't know. It's all pixelated, as you might expect. I don't know if it's a platformer, if it's supposed to be something like a Thomas is Alone kind of thing here. But I have it, and I don't know what else to say about it. That's a weird one. Pony Island. I've heard things about this game, and I've heard it was good and kind of insane. I've heard it's short too, which is maybe I should just play this, get out the way. If I remember correctly, it doesn't really take that long to get through this game. But yeah, I think I bought it when it came out, hearing that it was a cool little game, kind of like a neat little gem of that year, and that it takes some pretty surprising turns. I don't know what those turns are exactly. I like to keep it that way until I play it. But Pony Island, I've got that. Here's another big one that a lot of people love that I've never played myself, and that's Rogue Legacy. As someone that has loved Dead Cells, absolutely loved Dead Cells, Rogue Legacy is a game that people kept comparing Dead Cells to, so I should probably play Rogue Legacy and kind of, if it's basically pre-Dead Cells, then I might like that. I know what kind of game it is. It's like a tough as nails 2D platformer that's run based, so you die and you start a new night, and I think it like time advances every time you die, so like another 100 years or whatever it is, and then you get like a new knight who kind of carries on the adventure, something like that. Yeah, I haven't played it, but again, kind of like Papers, Please, one of those games I probably should have by this point. Let's see, Satellite Rain. I don't know what this is. I don't even know if I've heard of this game. I don't know how I got it, but I own it. I got a couple friends that have played it, apparently. It kind of looks like a top-down, like 3D, maybe like adventure or strategy game? I can't tell, actually. It's almost kind of, it's got like an isometric view, like a dungeon crawler, actually. I see characters with little circles under them, like an X-Men Legends or something. Man, should I be playing this? I like those kind of games. I don't know what this is at all. Somebody tell me what Satellite Rain is. Next game is Security Hole. Another one I don't know what it is or how I got it. But it's got, all I'm seeing are kind of like 3D hexagons, hexagon balls. And is this like a hacking game? Is it like Hacknet? I don't know. That's the first thing that's coming to my mind. But I don't know what this is either. Next game, Shadow Puppeteer. And at first I thought it was that other game that was just Puppeteer that came out last generation, which I've never played. And even though it's not on Steam, that's a game that's on my PS3 that I never played, even though I wanted to, because I think the idea was super cool of Puppeteer. I think that was developed by Sony Interactive. But Shadow Puppeteer, which is not related at all. Don't know what this is or how I got it. Again, it looks like a kind of dark but cute, like, adventure game, maybe? Apparently it came to Wii U at some point. Yeah, got nothing here. Ooh, man, going back to the heavy hitters that I haven't played, I've got Shadowrun Returns. I've never played any of the Shadowruns, but I remember hearing that Shadowrun Returns was super good, and I like to play, I try to go back and play as much classic stuff as I can. Like, I just like to know I like being exposed to those series that are really iconic and not just hearing about why they were so good. I like to play them. And Returns was a sequel, I believe, right? They didn't remake the original Shadowrun. I think they just made a full-blown sequel to it. And I remember hearing that this was super good, and I think they've updated it with some DLC since then. But yeah, I forgot I had this game too, and that's another one that feels like I should have played ages ago, and that I'm missing out on something here. So yeah, okay, Shadowrun Returns. Good to know that I have that. Let's see. Oh, we're getting to some Star Wars now. So first up, I've got Star Wars Dark Forces, which is the kind of Doom-ish Star Wars game released in '95. I actually wrote a news story about this recently for Screen Rant, because somebody, actually not just somebody, but a designer over at Obsidian Entertainment, who are currently working on The Outer Worlds and of course made Fallout New Vegas. In like him and a few other people's free time, they did a full-on like Unreal 4 kind of, I don't say remake of Dark Forces because it's not a game, but they just kind of, I guess, took one of the levels and just remade it in Unreal 4 and released it for free. So if you haven't heard of that now, you should probably look that up, because I don't know if Disney has pulled it down or yet, but I watched a YouTube video on it and write a news story, and that game looked really cool. I've always heard good things about Dark Forces. I should play this because I like Star Wars. And yeah, speaking of Star Wars things, I've got Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. That's a terrible name. Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. And here I thought that Respawn's Star Wars Jedi, Fallen Order was kind of a weird assemblage of words. Yeah, why do you have Jedi twice in the title? Why not just call it Jedi? Why not just make it Star Wars Jedi Knight Academy? Or Star Wars Jedi Academy? Why does it have to be Jedi Knight Jedi Academy? I don't know. I recently got this game. Actually, now that I think about it, it was free for Games with Gold like last month, because I'm looking at the box art. And I'm like, oh wait, I have this on Xbox, so that's probably why I'll play it. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever fire this up on PC. And then the last Star Wars game that I have is a big one a lot of people love, and I've never played. I missed it in its time. And that's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I did not have the original Xbox back in the day, which is the primary reason why I didn't play this game. I just couldn't. I had no access to it. Otherwise, I would have been all over it because I remember being super jealous reading like magazine reviews and just people talking about this game and not being able to have access to it because I love Star Wars and the idea of this choice driven like Star Wars RPG just seemed amazing to me, and I was like, oh man, I wish I had an Xbox to play that. And that's why I go out of my way to own every console now, so I never have to worry again about console exclusives. I can just have access to everything. I think I have this game on Xbox too, though, because it's backwards compatible with 360, and I think I have it there. So I don't know. I don't know for sure. Maybe I don't, but I feel like I do. I'm like 95% sure that I do, but if not, this will probably be the first Star Wars game I would play, just to finally like get it off my kind of list of shame. And it's sad because I don't know. I wonder how well it'll age, kind of, because I've played all the Mass Effect games. I love the Mass Effect trilogy. I've played Dragon Age. I've played a lot of BioWare's post Knights of the Old Republic stuff. So I'm a fan of the studio. Maybe not recently, but in general. So I don't know if the choice system will be as it will feel as robust because they've had games that iterate on it since then. But still, I just want to go back and play early BioWare, and it would be cool to play a BioWare game today that I can actually feel pretty good about. So, there's that. Let's see. I've got SteamWorld Heist. I like SteamWorld Dig. I've heard good things about SteamWorld Heist. I believe it's kind of an XCOM-y game, if I remember correctly. But I think this is one I remember having it on my 3DS wish list. I feel like I would rather play this on a handheld, and I know it's on Switch. In fact, I think it's on my Switch wish list, so that'll probably be where I play it. I know it's insane to buy it for a thing if I already own it here, but honestly, if I'd rather prefer to play it on a different platform, I do not mind spending the money to play it in the preferred manner. Let's see. The Swapper. I remember this game. This was in 2013 this game came out? I bought it in 2014. I remember hearing really cool things about this game. Like a third-person, 2D puzzle game. I think you're creating clones. I think that's the premise of the game, and kind of all the puzzles are designed around you making clones of yourself. I have this game on PlayStation 4. I know that because it was free for PS Plus years ago. I just haven't gotten to it, but PlayStation 4 will be where I play this game. This War of Mine. I really thought this game looked cool in a very depressing sort of way, and bought it, never fired it up. I know it's on console, but I would actually prefer to play this on PC just because the style of the game just feels like something I would rather play with a mouse. Just be able to click in the people and the rooms and kind of do all that stuff. I don't know, it just feels more it feels like it would be more intuitive with a mouse. Let's see, here's another one of the few games I have installed that I have had for a long time, and that's To the Moon. And it's funny because To the Moon, I think there's going to be a sequel to it, or there's some new To the Moon related project that I was reading about recently, and I made me go man, I should finally go back and play that game, because I remember when it came out, people raving about it. I think it's like a 2D kind of narrative game that I've heard the writing, and I don't even know what it's about. I've been really lucky to not have this game spoiled for me at all. I don't even know what the premise is, other than people saying it's a really good story and you should play it. It's already installed, so once again, I could just play this right now. I could stop the podcast right now and play To the Moon. And maybe I should, based on what the reputation of the game is. Let's see. We're getting kind of in the home stretch here, only a few more to go. Valhalla! A cyberpunk bartender adventure. I do remember buying this game. It did not come out that long ago, but I thought it sounded super cool. The idea of being this 2D cyberpunk thing, anime looking thing, but you play as a bartender, talking to people through drinks or something like that. I think I read a review from someone, and I was like, okay, that sounds unique. I want that. And I have it. It's installed. It's funny because I mentioned earlier that I played the Red Strings Club, and that was the last game that I played last year. And I remember playing that game and going wait, isn't this what that Valhalla game was too? Because in the Red Strings Club, the entire premise of that game too is that you're like a bartender in like a cyberpunk kind of future, and you're mixing drinks to talk to people, and like depending on what kind of drinks you mix, you could influence people's moods for them, and then that influences what kind of information they'll divulge. So like I remember just being taken by like, oh wait, isn't this like that other game? So I remember, I think at the time I thought about playing Valhalla immediately after Rich Drinks Club just to compare, and then I didn't, and I don't remember why. Okay, good to remember that I have that game. Let's see, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and then right under it I have The Vanishing of Ethan Carter Redux. Okay, I guess maybe they, the Redux was the same game with new stuff, and they just gave it to me for free, because I know I didn't buy that, but I have it for some reason. I also have this game on PlayStation 4. I would like to play this. I thought this game looked cool. I like the idea of it. But now that I have it on console, that'll be where I play it, so I'm probably never going to open it on Steam. Let's see, last three. Windward. W-I-N-D, Wind. W-A-R-D, Ward. But they're one word. I don't know what this is at all. I don't remember ever getting this game. I got it in 2017 apparently. I have no memory of this at all. I don't know what this is. I guess it's a sailing game of some sort. I don't know. It kind of looks like a strategy game. I don't know. Doesn't really look that interesting to me, but maybe it's good. Tell me. Let's see. The penultimate one, Year Walk, I should say. I do remember this. I remember this looked really weird. Like a weird looking, I don't even know what kind of game it is. Maybe narrative adventure, but it's got this kind of freaky looking art style. It's like a goat man in a suit with just these soulless eyes. Yeah, this looked really freaky and cool. Okay, Year Walk, got that. And then finally, the last game on my Steam backlog is Ziggurat, which I vaguely remember. I don't remember what it was about or what kind of game it is, but I just remember I remember there was a game called Ziggurat, and I don't know how I got this, but I got it. Not gonna complain about having a game, but yeah, I don't know. Is Ziggurat good? Let me know. Have you played Ziggurat? Are you the Zigguratis? That's the name of the fans for people that like Ziggurat. Dolph Ziggurat. Oh, look, it's funny. The recent news says, "Have you played Ziggurat?" Which was actually, it's a Rock Paper Shotgun article that released January of this year. So okay. Oh yeah, Rock Paper Shotgun writes those "Have you played" things, and I guess they just did one on Ziggurat. Maybe it's good, or at least maybe this person thinks it's good, because I think they only do these for games that are actually worth, recommending. Okay, interesting. So yeah, that kind of wraps that up. That's my Steam backlog right now. Did you find that interesting? Hearing about all the games that I have shamelessly neglected for years and years? Let me know. And also let me know if there's anything in there that you think I should play. Maybe it'll help me light a fire under my ass to actually get to these games and not let my money just sit there basically going to waste. But yeah, hit me up. And let me know if you want to, as weird as this was, if you enjoyed it, maybe you'd like to hear me do the same for my other backlogs on like PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo, whatever. Let me know. But in the meantime, I'm gonna maybe stare at Kingsway momentarily, or Papers, Please. Those two are kind of sticking out to me the most right now. So, who knows? Maybe I should get to those. Alrighty, guys. That'll wrap up this episode of Marcus Talks About Games. Thanks for listening, and if you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can do so at MarcusStewart7. That's the number 7. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. Whether you're listening on YouTube, you can find the channel at Marcus Makes Media. You can also find it on SoundCloud, same name, Marcus Makes Media. And if you want to listen to the show on iTunes and Podbean, you can do so at Marcus Writes About Games. Share the show, hit me up, and join the conversation, as they say. You can also find me on Screen Rant at... You can also follow my writing stuff on Screen Rant, doing gaming news, and that review of Eternity: The Last Unicorn coming soon. Oh, that game's so bad. And also you can find me in the Dungeons & Dragons live plays, We Wanted Adventurers, and Dragon Guard. DM'd by Jack Gardner, co-host of the Best Games Period. They're just live action Dungeons and Dragon role plays that are hilarious, described by a listener as It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but Dungeons and Dragons, especially Dragon Guard. You can find both of those shows on SoundCloud at the Best Games Period, as well as YouTube and on extralife.org. Once again, those shows are We Wanted Adventurers, and the other is Dragon Guard. So guys, thanks for listening. Have fun playing whatever it is you're playing, and I'll see you next Monday. This is Marcus Stewart, signing off.